All right. Okay, I'm live. You're live. Welcome. This is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today is February 3rd, 2026. This is the Anyone Can Farm live chat, Tuesday night edition. And I'm Mark, your host, freshly out of makeup. I got one piece of beard here that's sticking out there. Oh, well. Anyway, we don't have a title on here yet, but it is going to be titled By Any Means, Fair or Unfair. And that might be kind of a misleading title in a way, but I want to talk about something tonight that just came up in the course of my day yesterday. And I might as well tell you what that was. But for today, it was a standard Tuesday. Got up, get out, get the cows in, milk, get the milk prepped, get it all put where it's got to go. And when I was just coming in, all of it was gone. It was already dispersed out. So that's a good thing. You know, it's a system that I get to observe and operate and see that, hey, this is working. It is actually working. And it started with just a little bit of an idea at one point a few years ago, and it's working really well. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also excited about the fact that when we started to actually put things together, you know, actually bring materials together and build it out, that we had the foresight to see that, well, we're only milking 4 cows right now, but maybe someday we'd want to milk 10. So we're at 10. I'm offline. Check and try again. Anyway, looks like I'm back on now. We got 7 now. I already got 2 thumbs ups. Right on. Right on. But that I'm glad of that, because the way things are shaken out, I probably want to have about 14 milk cows. That's what I'm thinking is going to really work well in order to get done what we want to get done. And we're still going to maintain everything else too, but I think that's where we're going to go. But so that's what went on today. And then I had my regular, I had to get hay to the cows, and I had to feed the pigs, and I had to make a run into town to get some pour-on parasite stuff for my beef cows, because Jill said that they're looking like they need it. In a different light, they didn't look that way to me, but I did it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. And we got a little cold going through the house. I don't know if you can hear it in me. And after lunch, it was a late lunch, about 3:30, I laid down next to the wood stove, and I was gone for an hour. I was just gone. I was in another world, and it was great. It was great. And so when I just came in, Jill was sitting near the wood stove, and she was kind of acting a little funny. I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I think I have it." So the boys had it, and then I got it, and now Jill's got it. It's some sort of cold respiratory thing. Not a big deal. We get through it. It sapped my energy pretty much. But yesterday, I did not milk Monday. It was Frank and Jill milking yesterday. And about mid-morning, Frank calls me and he says, "Hey, the water is not going down the drain in the milk house." And so I thought, oh, that's not a good thing, you know, because we've had super, super cold weather, and it has sort of broken. It is probably, I'm going to say it's 20 out now. No, it's 9. But at least it's not negative 15. So it doesn't really feel that bad at 9 degrees. But it has kind of broken. High tomorrow is going to be 21, and then we're going to have Thursday through Friday 25 and 31 is the high. So that is, it may seem cold, but it really isn't, especially when it's been down below zero for quite a long time. It seemed like about 15 days. I don't know. We lucked out on that too. What happened was we were keeping all the records for the cows on a calendar that I was keeping, and it got misplaced. And so I think I told you this last week, we had to figure out when the 3 that are due now are actually due. And we thought it was last month, and we calculated it by a check that I wrote to the guy that was artificially inseminating them. And somehow it was off by a month. So they're due this month, and we're going to have, mild weather coming up here. Like the lowest I see is 21 for the high coming up into next Thursday. And it's so for calving, that's not bad. So we kind of lucked out, because when you have a calf at -15, it's rough. It's really rough. So we're in good shape there. But so I had to come up and figure out, okay, why is the water not running through the drain line into the tank? And I had to make some assumptions because it's all underground and I can't really see it. And so I assumed that the water in the tank had filled up, or the water had filled the tank up, and then it backed up into the drain, and then that froze. And that was a good assumption, because that's actually what it was. And to break that loose without digging, and I don't want to do that in the winter. I mean, it's so hard there. We drive over it and everything, that we would be pick and shovel and just, breaking out a piece at a time, just a little piece. You couldn't actually dig there. I don't think you could even do it very well with a backhoe. So that wasn't going to happen. So what I did is I got a heater, salamander heater, and or torpedo heater, whatever you want to call it, and ran heat down into the tank. First, I drained the tank, and then I ran heat down into the tank. Did that for a little while. It was a little too hot, and it was getting the plastic a little soft. So I had to only do it for about 5 minutes, then stop. And then I ran a hose down the drain until it wouldn't go anymore. And I think that was where the ice plug was. And then I just turned the hot water on and let it run. And that's about all I could do. And I was organizing some tools and stuff in the milk house, and just kind of generally cleaning up things. And all of a sudden, I see the floor. There was like 2 inches of water on the floor. And all of a sudden, the foam and anything that was floating in there, straw and stuff, all of a sudden started to move. And I actually kind of, got vertigo over it. And then I saw it all going towards the drain, and then down the drain it went. And that was about 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So I came out yesterday morning thinking, I'm going to do this, this, and this today. No, you're not. You're going to be doing this, because it's absolutely imperative that we have a drain in the milk house, because we have to clean equipment, and you have to have a drain in the floor, because we have to clean the floor after every milking and that. So I was very happy after that happened. And then I realized that, if that ever happens again, I'll know exactly what to do. But I also know I'm not going to let it happen again, because I'm never going to let the tank get that high again. I will keep an eye on that tank. And when it gets even close, we're going to be draining it out. Even better, the plan was, and it's a good plan. It's just I have found better plans. The plan was we're going to drain and we can still do this. We're going to drain all the water from the butcher shop, and the milk house is going to go into a common tank, about a 300-gallon tank. And then I will pump that out onto a trailer tank and take that out and spread that on the fields. And I'm thinking, oh, that's great. That's going to be really high nutrient stuff there, and the field would just love it. The problem is it's another step. And as much as I thought that would be a great idea, I never really got around to doing it more than twice. And it was doable. It just, but what if I don't get it done? You know, type of thing. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it all in place the way it is, but I'm going to put a drain line off of it and build a drain field that drains out into, there's a little garden there, and I'll use it as a sort of sub irrigation for whatever I grow in that garden. And what's growing in there now is Jerusalem artichokes, so they'll make real good use of that stuff. And we can harvest lots and lots of artichokes out of there and feed it to the animals. So, and us, we like it too. So it's going to work. But that was what my day was. And I was thinking the whole time, what would I do if I didn't have these modern tools to get this done? And as I was kind of going through it today, I was talking with the boys about it a little bit. I thought, we really need to acknowledge the fact that we are engaging in what looks more like traditional agriculture than modern agriculture. Modern agriculture is usually monocrop, high density, you know, inside, climate controlled, all that stuff. Heavy use of chemicals and a lot of heavy metal. And that doesn't really interest me that much, because that's a good way to make money, for sure. But as you're doing that, you're living your life as you're doing that. Where this, as I am going about my daily chores here, I am living my life as well. And it's in an environment that actually I get kind of a charge out of it. I actually like it. I like what I'm doing. And that's a big difference to me. And that's why I want to continue. Okay, it's kicking me offline and then letting me back on. Offline, check your connection and try again. All right. Not sure what's going on. Maybe if I turn this light off, because the light's flickering too. All right, well, let's just keep going. So I think that's one of the things that has really been helpful to me doing this, is understanding traditional agriculture and the way it was done and the hardships they dealt with. And then realizing the benefits that we have of modern technologies. You know, you don't think of an electric fencer as modern technology so much, but the only reference book that I go back to is 80 Acres, and there's no mention of electric fences in there. Of course, they didn't have electricity at the house, so they wouldn't have had electric fencers unless they had battery fencers. They may have, but there's no mention of that. So we have a lot of things like that. Like fencers are a huge advantage. You know, I can manage animals so easily with electric fence that I would really struggle with otherwise, especially keeping pigs, because they always want to be on the other side of the fence. There's always something better on the other side of the fence that they want at. And they just find themselves on the other side of the fence. Where with electric, it's a clear border that they don't go any further than that. And it's real easy to see if they are where they're not supposed to be, but they're still inside. You know, you can tell if you have done it long enough. So we have those things. We have modern motors. We have modern pumps. I have a pump that runs off gasoline that I can pump out a tank if I need to. Have electricity to the house. Huge. When I want to go into the milk house in the morning and the milk parlor and it's dark out, I just flick lights on. Now I'm getting some other thing. It says error. More than one ingestion is using the primary URL. Send one stream to the primary ingestion. Ingestion? I don't know what that is. Huh. And, in order to appreciate these things, you got to think about what would it be like if you didn't have these things? How many more steps would be involved to get something done than if you were doing it without those modern technologies like an electric fencer and electricity and pumps and motors. And man, I jumped in my pickup today and I went 20 miles into town and back. And because it was so cold out, it was actually a pleasure because my pickup has a heater and I can listen to the radio as I'm going. And I'm thinking, I don't deserve this. I just don't deserve this. It's a modern pickup. It's a 2018. I don't even know what makes a lot of it work, to be honest with you. It's funny. I had a low tire, and on the dash, it told me I had low tire, but it said it was the front right. So I went down to the shop and I put air in it, and the horn went beep. And I thought, what was that? And I keep putting the air in, and then it goes beep, 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 beep. And I took it off and I tested it. Yeah, right at 32. Perfect. So the thing is so high tech that I don't even need a tire gauge. Don't even need a tire gauge. I'm surprised they probably do. In some vehicles, they have a little compressor that fills the tires. I need them. But pretty amazing. And pretty nice, too. In that case, I think if I really needed something from town and all I had was a horse or a bicycle it would take me, till lunch to get there and then lunch to get home. So I better really need it and they better really have it, So anyway, I just felt really appreciative of all the things that we have, freezers, coolers, electric chicken plucker, propane, huge advantage. Of course, they had firearms back then, but we have just really good firearms available to us and lots of ammunition. It's really nice. Good hand tools, chainsaws. You imagine that, having to heat your house with wood without a chainsaw. That would be tough. You'd be sawing or chopping. Wow, that would work. And you just, you lose time when you're doing that. Last couple of years, I haven't even been using a chainsaw. There's a guy that lives in the next town over, and he offers a really fair price on really nice wood. And he just comes with a dump trailer and dumps it, and I pay him, and then we stack it. And it's better wood than we would get if we got wood out of the forest or pulp cords or anything else. Way better. And it's so convenient because cutting wood used to take us so much time. We enjoyed it, but we have a lot less kids in the house too now. So anyway, that's about it. That's all I really got to talk about tonight. I've just been going through this period where I maybe it's because I had a cold and I'm sapped for energy, but I just spend a little bit more time looking at things and saying, we did good with that. We did good with that, and just kind of embracing a victory. Plenty of failures. Let's see. Did I have a failure this week? I guess the drain plugging up was a failure. That's the only one I can think of. We're rebuilding the water system over in the apartment now. Jim's working on that. Excuse me. And it's going to be a couple days before we have the water back on over there. And yeah, we had some things to learn over there for sure. But our hired guy is doing fine. Oh, another thing came up today that I thought was kind of interesting. We were talking about, well, Brian was milking, and I usually go out there and I look the cows over and I kind of lean on them, and lean into the manger and say hi to them and stuff. I really like my cows. And he was asking me about one cow in particular that we got. And I bought her from a guy that said that he had got it from his brother's farm, but it had a big sticker on its back. The sticker was gone, but all the glue was there. And that's from when it was purchased from the sale barn. And so this particular cow, this guy sold it to me. He said, oh, it was from my brother's farm. And me off again. Okay, I'm back. Well, anyway, I said to him, yeah, well, she came here and she was destined for a dog food can, but we just put her in the herd and started feeding her good and grazing her, and we rehabilitated her because she's one of our best cows now. And I said, that's kind of how the farm is. And I said, yeah, and this dog over here, that was my son's dog. When we got her, she was kind of a basket case. Nobody wanted her. And we got her by default. And now she's rehabilitated. And I said to him, and I think I got rehabilitated too on this farm. And then I said, and so did you. Because Brian came to us, he was in real poor health, came to get milk, and then started working for us a little bit. Now he's gained 30 pounds, lives at the apartment, works here all the time. He's really doing good with his life. So the farm has sort of a rehabilitative quality about it. It can definitely work the other way around. If the farm runs you around, then I don't think it is rehabilitative. But if you are doing it long enough and you get in the groove with it and start working with the animals that live here and the environment that's here, then it is rehabilitative. Excuse me. All right. All right. Mr. Blair, evening, folks. Brian Jacob, present and accounted for. Mr. Blair. Mr. BJ Air. Gabe's with us. Snow is so deep, I've had to add fence to keep pigs in. Yeah, I've had that. That's where electric fence is your friend. It's your real friend. Put it down just so they get close to it and get buzzed. They won't want to do that anymore. Okay, that's about it. And then Keith, the farm rehabilitated me. Good evening to all. And then Vindicti. Haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, how you doing? All right. If there's nothing else, I'm not going to stay on long tonight. I got kind of a sore throat, and I'm having a hard time keeping going. I'm going to go and watch a little TV, get something to eat, and go to bed. Had a dream last night that you were famous nationally, and it reminded me to join the live. Whoa, how about that? I don't have time for that. It's too busy here. Yeah, too busy here. You know, I got to say, I'm really in a good place because I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy in the environment. I don't feel like stirring up the words as it's said. Sometimes I like to do that, you know, with everything that's going on in the country. You ever notice there's always yin and yang? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I know they're opposite of each other. And the narrative that comes out, you get outraged by the narrative, and then there's people that take the side of the bad guys, and then we're the good guys, of course. And it's always that way. Always like, oh, Bill Clinton this, and he's not going to testify, and oh, now he is, but he wants to be in pro. Oh, well, that's for him because he's so much better than us. And the whole, all the things, you know, all the things that are going on. And it never ends. It's always something. And it's kind of fun to watch, I suppose. But that's not real life. It's not, might be real life for them, but it's not real life for us if we don't get involved with it. You know, I didn't go to any protests. I kid around about it, but I don't have time to go to a protest. I'm still pissed off about OJ getting off, you know. So if I was going to protest anything, I'd be protesting that. But even that, I don't really care that much. I didn't watch the guy. I don't know him. It was tragic, I suppose, but it wasn't me, you know. Well, he got off. Yeah. But, you know, the homestead in our lives, I don't ever question whether something is real or not. We were having a conversation about this the other day because some of the antics that are being played out, I think we were talking about Don Lemon, old Don Lemon, the gay homosexual black guy that busts into a church, and then, you know, anybody else would probably have gotten beat to a pulp, but he didn't. But anyway, it's like he's going to get off. And then it was questionable, like, was that even real? And I said, yeah, you know, I'm tired of even questioning things like that. It doesn't affect me. And then I looked out the window and there was some birds at the bird feeder. And I said, I know one thing, that cardinal that I'm looking at right now is real, and it's beautiful, and it's right there. And that's where my focus should be. And the things that I have before me to take care of the animals that I am taking care of, that are entrusted to me, and making sure the milk goes out on time, and all the things that I can control, you know, not the things that I can't control, you know. Yeah. It's almost better watching a show on TV, right? I think this is going to be the third or the fourth time that we started watching All Creatures Great and Small. It's a PBS deal. It's really good if you haven't seen it. I don't know how many parts there are to it. And we turned it on the other night because there was supposed to be a new episode. And I was in charge of the remote control, and I didn't do it right. And I picked one right in the middle. And so, okay, nobody complained. So we watched it. And then last night we watched the next one. And tonight we'll probably watch the next one. You sit there and it's not real, but it's pleasant. You know? And so if we're watching things happening in the media and we question whether they're real, why even watch it? Why even watch it? I suppose you could cherry pick and really watch the stuff that you kind of like if they put Don Lemon in prison. All right, I'll take a victory lap, you know. But I don't like that guy. Don't like that guy. I don't. He's almost like a character that you're not supposed to like. You know, he's always busting on white men, and he's married to a white man. How absurd! It's just absurd. You know, like men can't get married. It's like marrying. You can't marry your dog. You can't. It's absurd. But anyway, it's just meant to kind of twist us up a little bit. I'm so glad that I have a place to be where there's an alternative to that. And when I turn to my alternative, it's real. It's real. And I know it's real because I can feel it, I smell it. It steps on my foot occasionally. You know, it's real. All right. With that said, if there's nothing else that I need to comment on, I'm going to call it a night tonight. We do have our, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we have our call tomorrow night or not. I'm not sorry. I'm not going to say. If we do, Jill sends the notifications out and you get it on your phone to remind you to be on the Zoom call at 8:00. And then we go from there. And that's more, you know, question and answer, sharing. Well, this is what I did. This is what I would do type of thing. And there's a bunch of people there that have a lot of knowledge on things. Well, we had an interesting thing happen. I don't think she'd mind me saying it, but Ann called me, Ann Putnam. She's on here a lot. She'll hear this. She messaged me Sunday night, and I could tell from the message that she was a little miffed. Excuse me. Because she was contemplating putting one of her cows down. And so I just shot back, do you need to talk? And she said, yes. So we talked on the phone, and one of her cows had calved about 24 hours prior, and her cow had not gotten up. And usually in Jerseys, that's because they have a calcium deficiency. And I'm not sure why this is, but they do. And the fix on it is a calcium paste that we keep on hand. And as soon as they calf, they get a tube of that paste. And then the next milking, they get a tube of that paste. And that's usually all you need to do. And I've had 2 cows go down with that. And then I had to have the vet come, and he had to give them an intravenous calcium shot. IV actually, and it was kind of touch and go there. It was not pretty, and so now we're pretty vigilant about making sure they get it. But anyway, she had done that, but the cow was still laying down, and she said that somebody in her orbit had said, well, you might as well cut your losses and butcher her. Well, you got a brand new calf. It was a heifer, or she thought it was a bull. She thought it was a bull, but then texted me about an hour later and said, this butt doesn't look like a bull butt. And sure enough, it was a heifer. And we all want heifers. If you're milking cows, you want heifers. Heifers being a female. And so I could just, when I heard all the particulars of this, I said, no, don't shoot her, because if you do, and she was going to get up in a half an hour, then she won't get up. That's the way it came out. I said, just prop her up, put some hay bales under her, prop her up against the wall so she can't lay flat, so she doesn't bloat. And that'll buy you some time. And she, yeah. Okay. And she did that, and then sent me a picture of how she was propped up with the bales in a box stall in the barn, and it looked really good. And then in half an hour, I get a text from her. She stood up. So once she stands up, then she's okay, and then they milked her and everything was all right. But it's just a really nice thing to hear that from me. And I just thought that was a good victory, good little. And those things happen, when you're new. She's not exactly new, but that hadn't happened to her before, so it's a new thing, and you can check with somebody about it. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's a forgiving business. It really is, because you're not really in charge. You're just a steward. That's all. I think I will hit it and go take care of myself and my family. So I hope all things are well. Um, Take advantage of this warm weather that's coming. Get some stuff done. Prepare for more. It's still kind of early. February, we got February and March. But to me, once I hit February, I'm thinking, okay, March is right there. It's 30 days from now. And then it's like, okay, spring is right after that. So I got to get some stuff ready for spring, because a lot happens in the spring, and then summer's really busy, and it's all fun stuff. Moving ahead, getting bigger, getting more efficient, making more gains all the time, enjoying it more every single day. All right. Remember, anyone can farm. Good night now.